Welcome in, folks. Today we are going to be training the quads to be long and strong. So I love this type of mobilization session because we're going to be stretching the quads and hip flexors, but we're also going to be strengthening them at the same time. So let's get right into it with our couch stretch. So you're going to kneel right next to a wall. You're going to put one foot up like so. The beginner version is to keep the knee away from the wall a little bit and start to work your torso upright. And as you get more and more mobile, we move that knee to be closer and closer to the wall until we're touching. So let's do our 30 seconds. I'm gonna start the timer. And we just start to pry that torso upright. So when I'm all the way at the wall, my butt muscles are touching my heel. And that's really like getting all of the knee flexion, which in turn puts this on such a big stretch, right? So this first round here, we'll do 2 rounds of these. We're just like getting our body used to this, right? Don't worry about pushing it too much. Okay, we'll go ahead and switch sides. So in this routine, our final movement that we're gonna do, go ahead and start the 30 now, is going to be a reverse Nordic. And that's the natural leg extension. I'll put it on the screen right here so you'll see what we're working towards. Now, not everybody's gonna get to this, but working towards this movement is really what you see here, the knee fully compressed with the hip open, but now gravity is pulling me back, so my quads really have to work in that position. So it's great for strengthening the quads in this lengthened and stretched position. Okay, relax. But because we want to give our quads a little bit of a rest between some of this, we're also going to stretch the hamstrings too, because why not, right? So I'm going to do good morning here in between. And all I'm going to think about is getting my back extended, reaching those sit bones up, feeling a good stretch through here, only going as low as I can with my back staying extended. So let's do 30 seconds. So if your back starts to round, just go ahead and come out of it. And on this one, make sure you only go until you can keep that back nice and flat. And as you get deeper, while that back's flat, you feel like this is opening up. These high hamstrings are really getting very nice stretch here. Okay, let's just hold on this last one for a few seconds, nice and deep. So same thing here, we're stretching the hamstrings, but because we're standing up and hinging, they're under load, so they're getting strong while they're stretched. So going back to the couch stretch, let me show you this reverse Nordic position here. Couch stretch is here, right? Reverse Nordic is essentially here. So now it's both knees completely flexed and my hip completely open, right? So that's what we're working towards. That's way more intense because my torso is pulling all the force into the hips and the knee. So this is how we start, really gently. And throughout this full routine, I'll give you guys regressions. Even if you're a beginner, you can do all of this and you can just work at a level that's right for you. You don't want to push yourself too fast in any of this, right? The quads, the muscles, but also the ligaments, the tendons, they need time to adapt to this long and strong position, right? And a lot of the research that's coming out these days, let's go ahead and stretch, is showing that those full range of motion positions, those deep positions like I just showed with that reverse Nordic, it's actually really good for strengthening the muscles, right? Those stretched positions, you know, they tear the muscles down a little bit more and it can be great for hypertrophy but what I'm more interested in is that unique strength, that strength of these positions, these uncommon positions that we get our bodies into, because the stronger you are here, like nice and open, the better you'll be when you're doing, you know, everyday life things, right? You'll probably never need to access these ranges of motion, but if you have them, it can be really nice. So back to our good mornings. We're gonna Lift that tailbone up. Feel those high hamstrings stretch. Keep that back flat. Your hips should travel back. So let me show you. The hips, they go behind me. That's what a hinge essentially is. So the more that I hinge my hips back, the deeper I can get and keep that nice spine angle, the more I can stretch my hammies. So let's go ahead and hang out on this one. One of the standards I like to have people work towards is, can we keep that back extended and get our fingertips to the ground, right? So if you have shorter arms, it might take you a little bit longer. My arms are actually quite long, so this is a little bit easier for me. But this is a cool position to get, right? Because most people can do this eventually, but with the flat back, so nice. Okay, cool. So we're gonna move on to our next exercise, which is the split squat. ATG split squat, where we are essentially pushing our knee forward and stretching this back hip big. So I like to use a little platform for this. This is about 3 inches. If you know you're pretty inflexible, then even, get a box or a stair where you can get your foot on. And we're only gonna do 5 of these, right? We're using this for our mobility purposes, so we don't need the timer. So I'm just gonna squat forward into this leg, and I'm really gonna put focus on squeezing my butt back here. I also wanna feel like these toes are really getting extended and they're really pushing into the ground, because that helps that hip open up. There's 3, let's do one more. Or sorry, now let's do one more. Hold here for a few seconds. So you can feel when you press those toes into the ground that my quad's lengthened, but it's also working, right? It's also getting stronger in that lengthened position. So let's do the other side. Here we go. 3, 4, let this be your deepest one here. Push those toes into the ground, squeeze the butt, squeeze the quad as well. And relax. Yes. Whew, that feels good to open those up, huh? Okay, hamstrings, one more time here. This time, we stagger the stance. This front leg is the one that's working, and we're gonna do 30 seconds again, okay? So here we go. Boom. Keeping that back nice and arched. Hip goes back. This leg is straight as you can here, right? In the beginning, I was bending a lot, and I was not getting very deep. But over time, I was able to straighten out that knee, get more stretch to the hamstring, get deeper and deeper. And that's just the journey. That's what we're all gonna go through here. Don't expect for it to be super deep on the first time you do it. Okay, let's switch. Here we go. Boom. Oh, timer. Keep that big toe into the ground as well. I find these, if I play with that foot pressure, I want big toe, outside toe, heel, all really dug into the ground. And that puts the biomechanics of your leg in nice position here. Okay, cool. So we're working towards our reverse Nordic. So what really helps is some props and a band. So if you have a band that you can put on, say, your doorknob, or if you're in the gym doing this, it should be no problem. This way, we can start to kind of determine how much of our weight we want to put into this position. So when I first started, I'll pop a video on screen. I used to get my couch cushions off my couch. Maybe my wife, Chrissy, behind the camera didn't love it. I was bringing those in our dirty garage, but anything for the mobility gains, right? So I had my pillows like stacked to here, right? For the beginning phases. So you can stack them as high as feels necessary. But if you have the band, then it's a lot less scary leaning back and you don't need quite as high as a prop. So this is what we're gonna start with. You're gonna grab with one arm, you're gonna lean back like so, and you can either go to a target that's nice and high or you have this band tension. And then we're gonna get to a position that we feel, okay, that feels pretty darn deep. You're gonna reach your other arm up and then you're gonna squeeze your butt and you're gonna try to drive those hips back up, right? So notice on my way up, I'm using more tension from the band. Because on the way down, I can probably control a bit more of my body weight, but then getting out of that position, I wanna have a little bit more play for my arms. So let's do 3 more here. We're leaning back, boom, grab the arm, help me get out of that bottom position. And how many was that, 3, 4? Okay, we don't know. Let's do 2 more. Leaning back, keep that hip open, right? And then keep that hip open as we go back up. And that's the thing, is that your hip's gonna wanna bend like this. But we just wanna do our best to keep that butt squeeze, keep that rib cage closed off. Deepest one right here, and then pull up, boom. Whoo! Just that, you'll feel like, wow, that's very unique strength for the quads right there. So open, right? Once again, use pillows as high as you need. Use a bunch of band tension. We're just getting used to this position. So in between this, what I'm gonna do is, so you can actually go right here, Mrs. Camera Woman. I'm gonna use some assistance from something. Just put your hand on something next to you. You're gonna go down into a little squat, and then we're gonna lift our heels, and then we're gonna push the knees forward. Boom. So we're kind of getting the same position, but now we have our toes into the ground, which is generally a little bit more kind of functional, right? Because the reverse Nordic, that's not really a position you'll find yourself in too often. So we're just kind of working onto the toes, push those knees forward, use as much hand assistance as you need. If you can get those knees to the ground, I love this. And this is very similar, right? We're lengthening through the quad, but we're getting stronger in the quad and the knee here, okay? That's good. That's completely good. Okay, so now we're gonna go to our next set of reverse Nordics. We're gonna do 2 more. So this one, you can start to play with a little bit less assistance from the band, right? Especially if that first one felt good for you. If it didn't feel good, or if it felt just right, then just do the exact same thing. But for me, because that felt pretty good, I'm gonna actually like slack the band a little bit here. So I can really control myself down, and then I'll pull a little bit more on the way up. But now I'm making my lower body work a bit more to get out of this bottom position. There's 2. We're just gonna do 2 more. Oh yeah, squeeze the butt, feel those quads open. Push yourself back up. Now I'm feeling really tired, really shaky here. Get a good eccentric down, and then I'm gonna use a little more hand assistance because I'm getting really tired. Pull myself out, okay. Whew. That was quite nice. So, we're gonna take a little breather here. The cool thing is that in just like a 15-minute session, you can get a lot of the adaptation that you need to be improving upon these. You don't need to do like sets of 10 of these, right? Sets of 3 to 5, even when you're starting to get close to getting your full one, you can just do like singles or doubles, right? You don't need a whole lot of volume. So one more time with pushing those knees forward from a squat. Just work this. I actually was just saying in another video how every time I do this, my squat actually gets deeper, and that's because I'm pushing onto my toes. I'm getting that big toe extension, which actually opens up your Achilles on the backside. So your ankle range of motion gets better from just kind of pushing your knees forward in this position. You can always use the assistance of something, but I've worked to being able to do this freestanding. It's not completely necessary, but you kind of get these balance and stability gains as well. Okay, that's good. Once, like, those are the same, do 3 to 5 of them. All right, so our last one here, we're gonna try, if you're feeling up for it, right? This is all up to you. As long as you feel safe here in this position and feel strong, don't push yourself into something that you're not ready for. But I'm gonna go with no target and no band. So you might still keep like a small target here, like a small pad or something. That's actually what I did for a long time, was I just kind of lowered the pad over time, and even just keeping something that was like 2 inches there was really beneficial. Now I'm at the point where I can pretty much do these full range, so let's do a few of them. So squeeze the butt, we go back, those quads open, ooh, the back touches, and I'm up out of there. Let's do another one. Squeeze the butt, lower down, use your assistance or lower to a target, and then boom, lead with those hips. Okay, so I'm just gonna do one more. And that is kind of one way that you'll cheat out of the bottom, is you'll raise the chest first and leave the hips behind. Really try to keep those hips driving forward. So here we go. Hips, 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 hips. Woo! Okay, so this is a routine where you can get your first reverse Nordic, but also you follow this, you start to open those quads up, and you get stronger at the same time. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.